Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. Excuse me for being a few minutes late. I wasn't able to get on today until 1:15, and then I was still a little bit late. But nevertheless, I'm here. I'm glad you're here with me on a Saturday afternoon. I'm pretty sure you guys had some other things you could be doing, but you chose to be here, so I appreciate you, man. And we're going to get into, listen, the Knicks won last night with a big win over the Dallas Mavericks. And, you know, sometimes it's a little bit funny to say that it's a big win so early in the season, but it was definitely a big win for the Knicks. We needed to have this win last night. It was desperation mode. It was definitely desperation mode, and they stepped up to the plate. Frank Ntilikina in particular stepped up to the plate, and a lot of people out there saying Frank Ntilikina really did save the organization's butt last night with the way that he played defensively, so that they could save face against Kristaps Porzingis and the Dallas Mavericks. Maybe that's the case. I don't know, but let's hope that the Knicks can pull this together, win, beat the Cavaliers, and see if we can string a couple of wins together and, start to make something happen this season. From things that I did see last night, obviously there's still a lot of mistakes, right? Still a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that the Knicks can fix, but they looked a whole lot better than in their previous two games, right? They were able to put I don't want to say a complete game together because there was still a lot of lapses. They missed free throws. Right, the Knicks are the worst free throw shooting team in the league right now. They still shot less than 41% from the field. But for all intents and purposes, they were able to put together four quarters, which they haven't been able to do over the last few games. All right, so they were able to play hard for four quarters, play defense for four quarters, and come out with a win against at the least a decent team. Now, we play the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are a team, I don't even know if I want to say in a similar situation as us. Maybe they're in a similar situation as us. Record-wise, they're 3-5. We're gonna break down. We're gonna talk about it in just a minute or so. All right. First, I'm gonna let you say what's up to Guillermo. And to Isaiah, who is at work and is going to continue to come in and out of the chat. And I'm not going to be doing all this work, Isaiah, so you're going to have to get it together. You're going to have to figure out something, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be doing all this work. But let me get these guys over to you, man. Just 30 seconds. Say what's up to everybody. Andy's in the chat, but it looks like he's muted himself. All right? So real quick, I want you to quickly say what's up to everybody. Then I'm going to get to this breakdown. All right? So, Guillermo, I'm going to come to you first. Go ahead, man.
It was good chat. Good win yesterday. Again, Frank, Taj Gibson, really good games, man. And it's on to the Cavs, man. Cavs they are what they are. They have some talented players in Sexton. They still got Kevin Love. There's Garland, who's not shooting too well, still a good player. I mean, he's still a good talent or prospect, let me say. And they're even trying to make Tristan Thompson somewhat of a scorer now, which is interesting. But yeah, so let's get to the breakdown.
Yeah, let's get to it. Isaiah, real quick. 1 second, let me get you over there. All right, go ahead, man.
Hey, what's going on, Sam? Shout out to the chat. Blackest time, you already know. Shout out to Guillermo, Andy. Again, Frank Ntilikina this was his game. This was his best game of his career. Now we're on to the Cavs, like Guillermo said. Listen, I said it last night. We got to make sure that we got to win the battle of the boards. We got to stop Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love and Larry Nance Jr. Not really worried about the perimeter guards, but we got to make sure that Frank and RJ are up to the task because they're very small and very quick, so they can be very shifty and everything like that. So let's just, let's talk about the game plan.
All right. And Nate just joined us. Nate the Great. So let's get Nate's take on it. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, man, first off, I got to say, man, Isaiah's pulling a Baker Mayfield with all these different hairstyles. I feel like he's got different hairstyles every time, man. He had the man bun. He's got the cornrows now.
Well, you know,
Amen.
he was going through the evolution of getting his hair done at the time. So that's what it is. He had the braids, and then he got them taken out, and he had his hair put up in a man bun until he got his braids done again.
Yeah. I'm
You know what I'm
just trying to hold on to my hair, man. So hey, props to him.
Just trying to hold on to it, huh? I hear you, man.
Yeah.
Keep hold on to it for as long as you can, but don't let it get too bad though, Nate. When it gets to that point and it's almost there, I'm looking at you. I'm not, it's almost there. You just gotta let it go. You just gotta go ahead and let it go.
That's why I'm gonna buy a bucket hat and wear one like you do, Sim.
There you go, man. You get to a certain point, you gotta just say, all right, I'm gonna let it go.
Sure.
So, all right. So this game tomorrow, what do you think, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's important we string some wins together just for momentum's sake. I mean, to make this team feel good. I mean, you saw everybody's excitement yesterday when the Knicks won. It was like a relief. Like, hey, we're not going to lose 5 in a row. So it's just important for the maturation of these players to continue to get better. And I'll tell you this, man. I really feel like Frank solidified himself as the point guard for the rest of the year and possibly for the future. I mean, the tangibles he brings on defense, no one else has on this team. And we're going to need that. Whether he's our point guard or whether he's on this team, I think solidified himself on this team for the future because we need guys like him. Those guys are hard to find at that size and that kind of savviness and defensive ability.
All right. Well, look, let me go ahead and I'm going to break down this game. Hopefully you guys pay attention to the breakdown. All right. And, we'll talk about it. We'll finish talking about it. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell. You'll be notified anytime I go live, drop a video, post in my community section, or anything else that I do on YouTube. You'll be notified. So make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. If you're on Sportscaster, follow me on Sportscaster. All right. And you'll also be notified. If you follow me on Sportscaster, you'll also be notified whenever I go live on Sportscaster. And I am live on Sportscaster right now. Okay. So we're going to get to the breakdown in this game. This could be a very interesting game for the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. It really could. All right. We're going to see something that maybe we haven't seen yet this season as far as Darius Garland and Colin Sexton in the backcourt, 2 small guards. We're going to talk about that. But let's get to the lineups and the injury reports, and then we'll get into the game a little bit. All right. So first and foremost, the lineups. The Knicks are 2-7. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 3-5. All right, you see that up at the top of the screen. We play tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at Madison Square Garden. All right, so we're back home. See if we can string together some wins at home. We got a little bit of a homestand. I think 4 of the next 5 games are at home, or 5 of the next 6 games are at home. The only exception is when we go to Chicago. And that Chicago game is, they're going to be motivated to beat us, but we'll talk about that another time. All right, the projected starters for the Knicks, Frank Ntilikina, R.J. Barrett at shooting guard, Marcus Morris at small forward, Julius Randle at power forward, Taj Gibson at center. And it seems to be cemented that Taj Gibson is going to start at center until Mitchell Robinson is back. And then it still may take some time for Mitchell Robinson to, get himself back in game shape. I'm thinking Mitchell Robinson's going to be out for a week or 2. Right, going through that concussion protocol is not that simple. My daughter went through it. She was out for like 2 weeks going through the concussion protocol. And Mitchell Robinson got hit much harder than my daughter did. So Taj Gibson will be starting at center. Bobby Portis will be backing him up. Coach Fizdale said he wants to make sure, he wants to kind of get Bobby Portis comfortable in that backup role because that's what he's going to be doing. That's what he's going to be playing. And Bobby Portis is glad and happy to play in that backup role. Now, if the Knicks go on a win streak while Taj Gibson is the starting center, the question then becomes, do you put Taj Gibson back to the bench when Mitchell Robinson comes. But you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, ladies and gentlemen. For now, we know that Taj Gibson is going to be the starter. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Darius Garland starting at point guard. Colin Sexton at shooting guard. Seti Osman, however you say his name, starting at small forward. Kevin Love at power forward. And Tristan Thompson at center. You know, I almost forget about Kevin Love. I really do. I almost always forget about Kevin Love. He's putting up decent numbers this year, too. All right, both teams have some injuries. For the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson is out with a concussion. Alfred Payton has a right hamstring. Reggie Bullock out with a neck issue with death in the family. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dylan Windler has a lower leg issue. John Henson, a hamstring. And Ante Zizic, however you say his name, a foot problem. Dennis Smith Jr. is back with the team. Who knows if he's going to play, but he is back with the team. I'm glad to see him back. Hopefully, his grieving process, hopefully he's through his grieving process. No, he's not going to be through his grieving process. He's still going to be grieving for some time. He lost a very, very close family member, his mother. Right, so he's going to be grieving for some time, but hopefully coming back to the basketball court, getting back with his teammates, focusing on basketball, will help him get through this period. Let's look at the team comparison. Both teams are on a win streak. Well, both teams have won one game, so they're on a one-game win streak. All right, you can see the Knicks. They average 100.6 points per game. Their opponents average 109.4 points per game. The Knicks are shooting 42.4% from the field, 36.7% from three. And guess what? As much as we complain that the Knicks don't have a lot of outside shooting, that 3-point percentage is ninth in the league. It's ninth in the league. We'll take it for what it's worth. It's only 9 games in. It's a small sample size, but right now, that shooting percentage is ninth in the league. The 3-point shooting percentage is ninth in the league. Rebounds, the Knicks average 46.1 rebounds per game, 19.7 assists per game, 16 turnovers per game. Their defensive rating is 109.4, that's 23rd in the league. Their offensive rating is 100.6, that's 28th in the league. The Cavaliers, they average 107 points per game. They give up 110.6 points per game. All right, they shoot 43.6% from the field, 33.6% from three. They grab 46.3 rebounds per game. They average 21.4 assists, 14.1 turnovers. So they take care of the basketball. Their defensive rating is 109.4. Their offensive rating is 105.5. All right, so we're playing a team that's, like I said, kind of similar to us. Not really similar in structure, but similar in where they are as an organization. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the key matchups. I got 3 key matchups that I'm really looking forward to seeing and watching out there. Number 1, the rookie matchup. Got Darius Garland. He's 6'1", 192 pounds. He's averaging 8.5 points per game, 1.5 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists per game, and no blocks per game. For the guards, I'm going to change that up and put steals in there for the guards. He shoots 32.5% from the field, 27.6% from three. And look, coming into the NBA, that 3-point shot is something that people said, hey, this guy might be a good NBA shooter. So far, he's just a rookie, but so far he hasn't really been knocking that 3-point shot down. We'll see how it turns in the future. RJ Barrett, he's 6'6", 214 pounds. He's a guard forward. He averages 16.2 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 3.9 assists per game. Less than a half a block per game. Again, I'm going to change that to steals for the guards. Now, his shooting has significantly dropped since the last game, and that's because of this small sample size, right? So after last game, going 1 for 6, 1 for 7, 1 for 8, whatever he was, He's shooting 40.3% from the field. He's shooting 35.5% from three. The question here is not will R.J. Barrett be able to defend Darius Garland or Colin Sexton. Him and Frank Ntilikina will switch on and off between the two players. I think Frank Ntilikina will probably guard Colin Sexton a little bit more. We'll talk about that in a minute. But can R.J. Barrett rebound? And I don't mean rebound the basketball. Can he rebound from having a poor shooting night? All right, this is going to be something to watch. All right, because this is really the first game that R.J. Barrett did not play well on the offensive side. First game where he really had a bad shooting percentage. Now, I believe the guys can rebound and will rebound, even if it's not tomorrow. Even if it's not tomorrow, I believe he can and will rebound. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, right? Players and people, their NBA players are it's okay for them to go on a bad streak every once in a while, especially a rookie. It's okay for them to, kind of get off, their shot be off or whatever it is. The encouraging thing is that he still grabbed 8 rebounds, and I think he still had 4 assists. Right? He was still in there, in plays, playing defense, and trying to make things happen coming down the stretch of that game. So much so that, he went to the free throw line. Now, he did miss when he was at the free throw line, right? But, we got to work on that as a whole, as a team. Scoring. Or not scoring, but making our free throws. We're terrible from the free throw stripe. But can R.J. Barrett rebound tomorrow? Can he come back and have a strong game? It's going to say a lot about his mentality if he can come right back and have a strong game after having, one of his more lackluster games. So we'll be watching that. Point guard, not point guard, but rookie matchup. Darius Garland, R.J. Barrett. That'll be something to watch. Although Darius Garland isn't having the greatest of rookie seasons so far, it's early. Very early. Next matchup I want to look at. Frank Ntilikina versus Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton, one of the fastest guards in the league. All right, the guy can straight up fly up the court. Frank Ntilikina, one of the best defensive guards in the league. The guy can flat out play defense. All right, so this will be a good matchup. I mean, one of the best players in the league already, Luka Doncic. Frank Ntilikina had the task of guarding him last night. Now, Luka dropped whatever he dropped, 30 points, 32 points, whatever it was. But Frank Ntilikina did a good job and helped force him into 8 turnovers last night. Now, this is a different task. While Luka, he doesn't have a lot of speed, but he's very crafty with the ball and he's strong. Frank had to deal with that. Now Frank's got to switch gears and defend somebody who's going to be smaller and faster. It is a testament to Frank Ntilikina that he's able to do that too. He can go from guarding someone who's bigger and stronger and make it tough for that guy and then switch right around and play defense on somebody who's smaller and quicker. That's a testament to his defensive astuteness, if I can make up a word or two. Colin Sexton is 6'1", 190 pounds. He's averaging 17.3 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 0.1 blocks per game. He shoots the ball at 41.9% from the field, 37.8% from 3. Cavaliers as a whole, they shoot about 33 3-pointers per game, 33, 34 3-pointers per game. Now, Frank Ntilikina, he's averaging 5.5 points per game, 2.3 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists per game, 0.2 blocks per game. But let's hold up for 1 minute. Because the last 2 games, Frank Ntilikina has been averaging about 12, 13 points per game, 5, 6 assists per game, and like 2 or 3 blocks per game. the last 2 games. All right, so these numbers aren't exactly indicative of his current play. He's shooting, and this is factors in last night's game. He's shooting 39.1% from the field and a whopping 42.1% from 3. Obviously, last night, he only missed 1 3-point shot. Okay. He was 4 for 5 from 3 last night, so he shot 80% last night. So the number is definitely skewed. All right, he was shooting horribly from the beginning of the season. Now he's, shooting 42.1% from 3 because the numbers are skewed. But let's not get that twisted. But that's all right because it's a what have you done for me lately type of league. And lately, Frank Ntilikina has been on fire on the defensive side on the floor and playing pretty good on the offensive side on the floor. I didn't want to say on fire from the offensive side of the floor. I just want to say pretty good because, it's not like he was dropping 30. But I'm hoping that he can come back and have another good game. And I'm going to talk about the way that I like to see RJ Barrett and Frank Ntilikina play as well. All right, let's talk about the next matchup. The matchup of the power forwards. Kevin Love, Julius Randle. There's going to be a lot of switching going on. You know that. That's how the Knicks play. All right, they do a lot of switching. But you will see Julius Randle on Kevin Love. I can guarantee it. All right, Julius Randle's going to have to guard the perimeter. Now, Kevin Love is not going to take you off the dribble, but he will spot up and knock down threes. So Julius Randle's going to have to be on point and pay attention to that. If not, well, we'll be in trouble because Kevin Love will light it up from 3. All right, Kevin Love is averaging 18.5 points per game, 14.1 rebounds per game. So Julius Randle's going to have to be aware and box out. And it seems really, really simple that we say box out. But yes, box out. Kevin Love also averages 3.9 assists per game, 0.6 blocks per game. He's shooting 49.5% from the field and 36.7% from 3. Julius Randle, he's averaging 15 points per game. The last 2, he's averaging 20.5 points per game in the last 2 games. All right. He had 20 in the previous game against Detroit. He had 21 last night against the Dallas Mavericks. He's also averaging 9.3 rebounds per game, 4.2 assists. And I will say, Julius Randle he's a good passer. He's able to find people. Being a good passer and able to find people out of the post, out of the high post, mid post, wherever you got them placed, doesn't mean that you're a facilitator. There's a difference. A good passer and a facilitator are 2 different things. Coach Fizdale's recognized that, though, so I'm not going to harp on it. He's recognized that, and he's taken the ball out of Julius Randle's hands. And he's been playing better the last 2 games. He still has to do it on the defensive end, but he's been playing better. Julius Randle so far this season is shooting 43.4% from the field, 19.4% from 3. Both numbers are drops from the previous season. We'll see if he can lift them back up now that he doesn't have this extra responsibility. But this is a key matchup right here. Clearly, Kevin Love is the best player for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Julius Randle, is he the best player? I don't know. Probably it's Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris is definitely the most respected. He's definitely the leader of the team. And maybe this should have been Marcus Morris up there. I don't know. But Marcus Morris will see some time on Kevin Love as well. Now, he'll probably see a lot of time on Kevin Love, the same way he's seen a lot of time on KP. Right? But in, the interest of namesake and all that kind of stuff, Julius Randle and Kevin Love. And, if you want to throw Marcus Morris in there, we could throw Marcus Morris in there too. As a matter of fact, I'll run down what Marcus Morris is averaging for the season in case you want to see the matchup or understand the matchup of Marcus Morris and Kevin Love. All right, as soon as I can find Marcus, there we go. soon as I can find his stats, I'm going to get him up there. Marcus Morris, so far this season, is averaging 19.1 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 1.2 assists. He's shooting 43.3% from the field and 48% from three. That's Marcus Morris right now. So there's good. Yes, Julius Randle and Marcus Morris will both see time on Kevin Love. Now, let's take a look at some of the keys of the game. Number one, we've got to continue to play with urgency on defense. We played with super urgency on defense last night, and it was led by Frank Ntilikina. Right? Everybody, talks about Patrick Beverley and what he does for the Los Angeles Clippers. That's what Frank Ntilikina did for us last night. The same exact thing. The same thing. I'm hoping that the Knicks finally see the value in this kid. Because if they did not see the value in Frank Ntilikina last night and in the previous, the last two games, other teams have. You can guarantee that. We heard that Detroit was interested in Frank Ntilikina. Well, Frank Ntilikina showed what he can do on the defensive side of the ball while they were in Detroit. And then he knocked down some shots too. I'm pretty sure that piqued their interest even more. They probably put a phone call into Perry as soon as the game was over. Or they just called him into the back office and said, hey, let's talk. After last night's game, I'm pretty sure the entire league is on notice and watching to see if he continues to play this way. And somebody out there, if he doesn't continue to play like this, somebody out there is thinking, I can unlock this kid. I can unlock him. So hopefully the Knicks recognize the same value in Frank Ntilikina, because they are a better team with him on the floor, no doubt about it. So we got to continue to play with that urgency. Frank Ntilikina, Marcus Morris, we need them to lead the way. And playing with that urgency. And Taj Gibson. Because Taj Gibson is the guy that can go out there and bark at Julius Randle when he's making mistakes. Bark at Kevin Knox when he's making mistakes. I love Mitchell Robinson. But he doesn't have that respect yet. That's the value of Taj Gibson being on the floor. So that's going to be a question whether or not Mitchell Robinson comes back and starts when he's healthy. Next, the battle on the glass. You heard Nate mention it, I think. You heard Isaiah mention it. We've got to take care of the glass. There's two guys on this team that can really rebound the ball. You seen Kevin Love averages 14 rebounds per game, right? And then you got Tristan Thompson. And let me see what Tristan Thompson is averaging right now. I think he's averaging like 12 rebounds per game. I'm pulling it up right now so I can let you know for sure. So I'm not giving you false information. He's averaging 11.6 rebounds per game. Tristan Thompson is actually averaging 17.4 points and 11.6 rebounds per game. So now you're talking between Julius Randle and Marcus Morris and Taj Gibson. They got to deal with Tristan Thompson, right? They got to help deal with this guy on the glass because, look, he's 6'9", so any one of these guys can guard him, all right? Any one of these guys can guard him. They're going to have to try to keep this guy off the glass. It's not going to be an easy task. And look, he's averaging 17.4 points per game. He's shooting 55% from the field, 33.3% from three. So Tristan Thompson is trying to take his game to a next level. Got to watch him. He could be a sneaky X factor. Let's take advantage of this of our size at the guard positions. Frank Ntilikina, 6'7". RJ Barrett, 6'6". Colin Sexton and Darius Garland are both 6'1". And they're both starting at those guard positions. Right? So the Cleveland Cavaliers are playing small. We can take advantage of that. RJ Barrett can post up. Frank Ntilikina can post up a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that we've got to do this every single time down the floor, but we should find ways to take advantage of our size at that position. Here's the luxury that the Knicks have with Frank Ntilikina and RJ Barrett. While both of these guys are 6'6" and 6'7", 6'7" and 6'6", they can defend guys who are 6'1". We know Frank Ntilikina can, and so far, R.J. Barrett has shown that he is a very, very capable defender in the NBA. So they can defend him, and then they can post him up. They can shoot over top of them. So if there was going to be a game where R.J. Barrett can really rebound offensively, it would be tomorrow. Right? Because he's going to have either Darius Garland or Colin Sexton guarding him. He should be able to shoot over top of them, post them up, score in the paint. We'll see if Fizdale utilizes that strategy. You would think that he would. You would think that he would. I hope he does. We got to continue to push the pace. All right, both teams are towards the bottom in pace per game, but the Knicks' pace got a little bit better after last game, and we got to continue to rise. Slowly rise, slowly rise, slowly rise, if that's what it takes, because it's not going to jump from the bottom to the top all in one game, two games, 3 games. We got to continue to do it. Push the pace while playing good basketball. All right, let's get out on the break. This is a team that we can score in the paint against. All right, so while we're pushing the pace, we need to attack the paint because we can score in the paint. All right, the Cavs give up 53 points per game in the paint. Now, I know I've talked about this a lot because we've played teams that give up points in the paint. Right? They give up 53 points per game in the paint. We need to attack the paint. We can attack the paint with our guards. You know, R.J. Barrett can attack the paint. We can also attack the paint by posting up Frank Ntilikina and R.J. Barrett because they have smaller guards. So we can attack the paint in that manner. Of course, Julius Randle can attack the paint. We continue to get him going downhill, catching the ball on the move, getting to the basket. Got to attack that paint. Because it's there. It's there. They're vulnerable in that area. It is there. We got to attack the paint. All right. I want to go back to the defense for 1 second because I missed something that I wanted to talk about. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 27th in the league in fast break points. All right. 27th in the league in fast break points. They don't fast break. So we've got to be prepared to play a half-court game. We've got to be able to play defense for 24 seconds. All right, we can't have those defensive lapses. And we see them with the Knicks, where somebody gets open and they're wide open because the ball is moving. Right? So we've got to be able to play that half-court defense because they're a half-court team for the most part. Now, this doesn't mean that they can't get out. Remember, this is an early sample size. It's only 8 games in. They got 2 fast guards that should be able to get out on the break in Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. All right, so and then you got a guy in Larry Nance Jr. that can, he can get up and down the floor and he can make some plays. All right, he can get some dunks, he's not going to get the crowd into it because they're at Madison Square Garden. But given the opportunity, these guys will be able to get out on the break. So we got to make sure we're still playing good transition defense. Even though they're a half-court type of team, at least that's what it looks like so far, we've got to still guard against that fast break, but be able to play in the half-court. All right. So what was I talking about? I was on attack the paint. I took myself backwards, but I was on attacking the paint with our guards, with our bigger guards. Of course, with, guys like Julius Randle, attacking the paint. Alonzo Trier, attacking the paint. Then, we're going to attack the paint. We're probably going to get fouled, ladies and gentlemen. So if we're going to get fouled, guess what? We've got to make our free throws. The Knicks right now are the worst free throw shooting team in the league. Yes, we are the worst team in the league. At the moment, the Knicks shoot 65.3% from the free throw line. The worst in the league. We got to do something about it. We put ourselves in a situation last night to give the Mavericks a chance to win because of missed free throws. Got to make the free throws, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Those are my keys to the game. I want to know what your keys to the game are. What do you think we've got to do to win this game? All right, I'm going to get back over here to guys in the video chat. You can call in, ladies and gentlemen, 516-405-2246. You can call in. Let me know what you think, what your ideas are. Right? Guillermo, I'm coming to you. And I want to ask you about having Frank Ntilikina and RJ Barrett play some in the post against Darius Garland and Colin Sexton.
I think that's excellent, man, because remember last year, Sexton killed us last year. You like what other teams do so well in the Knicks is that they either switch to get exploits in terms of mismatches, or they do so to get guys in foul trouble on our team who are already in foul trouble to kind of get them out the game. And I think that with a guy like Sexton, you take Sexton out, Sim, you know, that offense is just not as I won't say explosive, but it's just not as good, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Get RJ, and again, this is a guy RJ who he's having some games where you're starting to see, I won't say the rookie wall, but he's not as effective, right? And it wasn't just this game, Sim. The other game, I think he went like 4 for something. I can't remember, 4 for 13 or 4 for 10, something like that. The other game. So what I would do is basically get him into the post, slow the game down for him, allow him to use his strength and his size versus trying to force going up to the basket. You see he's getting frustrated by not getting calls. So basically slow the game down for him. They double team him, have guys cut to the basket, have somebody on the perimeter come around so he can make that pass out the double teams and stuff like that. Simplify the game for him, you know, and that works to our favor, like you said. Get the guys like Sexton, get the guys like Garland out the game. Once those guys are in trouble, foul trouble, don't get me wrong, look, Tristan Thompson is working on his offensive game, but he's not. This is not Rudy Gobert. I can't even say Rudy Gobert. It's not Jokic, right? He's not a big man who's going to kill you. Kevin Love can score a silent 20 and not kill you, right? And still lose. So to me, I agree with you 1,000%. Have a game plan when you're getting these guys in the post. The Frank, even Frank can operate in the post. That little paint turnaround jumper thing he does, you know, when he gets a chance to last in the past 2 years, he's been doing it a little bit here and there. Get these guys in the post. You know, make them watch some videos of Jason Kidd tonight. And, you know, show them how to basically abuse smaller guards in a post. Get those foul calls. You know, force the issue. Make those guys adapt to your game. Many times with the Knicks, guys adapt to us, and then we're stuck. So I agree 1,000%. Get those guys in foul trouble. Get them out the game because that's basically a bread and butter. Sexton and I mean Garland's not shooting too well. He's not scoring too well. But again, he's a guy who has talent. I see him in spurts. I watch a few games with the Wizards, and I watched the game with the Mavericks. This guy can play. So you know what I mean. So.
Yeah, he can
I agree
play.
1,000%. Get these guys out the game, man.
Right. You know, listen, Garland can play basketball. He's, you know, adjusting to the NBA, and he barely played in college, right? I think he played? Well, he played one season in college, and then he was hurt the next season, something like that, right? So I maybe he has one season under his belt, but he's adjusting to the NBA game. You know. Most people think he could be a pretty good guard in the NBA, and we'll see if he can. But you don't want him to get loose against us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want him to get loose against us. And, of course, Colin Sexton is one of the fastest guards in the league. And while they are last in the league in fast break points, or 27th in the league in fast break points, they have some guys that can get out and go. Larry Nance Jr., you know, he's a high flyer. Colin Sexton is one of the fastest guards in the league. They got some guys that can get out and go if you give them the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
And Sim, another thing too with Sexton is that this guy, I remember from college, from Alabama, he was seen as a shooting guard in a point guard's body who couldn't shoot. Last year he shot 40% from three. This year so far, I think he's shooting 37% from three. So obviously he's improved in that regard. And one more key to the game, we have to be aggressive on the boards, man. Because guys like Tristan Thompson, he's still a good offensive rebounder. Larry Nance, they got guys who can hustle. You know what I mean? This is the type of game where you don't need him to get any momentum where we're not getting those second chance points or we're not hounding on the defensive end. So like we saw with Taj Gibson yesterday, which I loved, and I thought he was an underrated guy at the game yesterday. You got to be aggressive on the boards. You got to be aggressive on the hustle plays. Don't let down. Don't give these guys second chance points where they get into the game, man. I don't want to see a lead where we're up by 8, you know, with 5 minutes left to go or something like that. And then because we're not hustling on certain plays, or even the second quarter, we'll be up by like 15. And because we're not hustling for plays, we're kind of taking them lightly. we're doing ISO too much and not getting second chance points opportunities, we kind of, lose the lead. So again, we got to treat this game just like we treated yesterday, man. We're down right now. We're 2-7. We're
Right.
not 500. We're not
Exactly.
bound for the playoffs. Play like this is your last game of the year, man. Like this game depends. Like everything on this game, it depends on whether you win or lose, man. We have to have that tenacity each and every game, man, because we're the underdogs in almost every game we play. So
Right. And hopefully last night's game, is that springboard to those guys understanding that they've got to have that mentality if they want to be a winning team. If they're going to play like dogs, if they're going to bring that kind of feel back, they've got to have that mentality every single night. Ron Cleveland, what's popping with you, man? How you feeling?
Man. You know how I'm feeling.
I know it, man. I know it, man.
I didn't get a chance to talk to you last night, man. I was lit. I had to get off of here, man. Man, what I saw last night is what I was expecting us to be coming into the season. I expected that kind of play out of our team, man. Where them guys, you look at how we played last night, we played desperate. The
Right.
whole team played with a sense of urgency. And if they can do that night in and night out, we're going to be a hard team to beat. And I'm telling you this, man, Sim, I don't know if you had a chance, you guys, man, I put it in the chat. Y'all need to read that article that Forbes put out on Frank Ntilikina. It's very interesting, man. It's eye-opening. And see that it's to a point now where Fizz got to name him the starter for the rest of the season. That way he don't have to be looking over his shoulder. He can continue to play freely. And that's what I think really is the key for us. Frank is the key to the whole engine, man. And the thing I love about Frank, I'm going to tell you, what Frank does for the offense, man, is you think about this, Fizz. Well, I'm calling you Fizz. Sim. You think about this. What Frank does, Frank is not a point guard that's just going to pound the ball. What he's going to do, he's going to force other people to pass the ball because he's passing the ball. And it's infectious. If you notice, every time when he's on the floor, the ball is moving. When Frank comes out of the game, that ball won't move the way it does when he's on there. So that's the key. If you move the ball, I don't care what kind of defense you're playing, it's going to be hard to catch up with the ball. The ball will move faster than your feet.
Right.
And I think that's the key for us. If we can do that, and even I got to give Bobby Porter some prop last night. Everybody it was a team win last night. Frank.
All the way around.
But looking at us, man, if we play the way we played last night, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat us. And I can take those kind of losses. We lose with that kind of energy than just coming out and just thinking somebody's going to just roll over for you.
Right. And even last night when I was watching the game and we were coming down the stretch and I said, if we lose this game, I still feel good about the way that we played. I felt good about it. I at least felt good about the energy that we brought to the table. Win or loss, if either way, whichever way the game went, I felt good about the energy that we brought to the table. Obviously, I'm glad we pulled out the win. But we're talking about Cleveland now. All right. What matchup issues, what matchup strategies do you want to use, Nate?
Well, I mean, we're going to have to be on top with our guard play because you've got Darius Garland and you've got Colin Sexton that are very aggressive guards that can get in the paint very quickly. And like I said last night, the Knicks did not do a good job of containing or keeping Luka out of the paint. And I know it's a hard thing to do, but I mean, KP was getting to the basket pretty easily too. And I think the lack of Mitch Robinson, people were just being more aggressive with us. If Mitch would have been there, it might have been a different story because they know he can block shots. I mean,
That's
we're
true.
gonna have to be good on the ball.
That's true. Yeah, what you just said is very true. People are not going to be afraid to go to the paint because we don't have a shot blocker in there. That's going to be very true.
It's like when we had KP, man. When KP was hurt or he was out, they killed us at the rim,
right?
Because they knew that he wasn't there. So I think we just have to be really tight on the guards, man. A lot of people said Barrett played good defense yesterday. I disagree. I thought he was very lazy at times on defense against his man. So he's going to have to tighten that up. Of course, Ntilikina is going to bring it. I do see Ntilikina probably guarding Sexton because he is probably more of the athletic guy, the bigger guy than Garland. Garland's more of your shooter type, but he can also get in the paint. It's just going to main thing is keep them out of the paint. I mean, if you can control those two guards and keep them out of the paint, rough them up, make it difficult for them to play, then I mean that's really all Cleveland has. I mean, other than maybe Love or Thompson, I mean the boards are going to be important. I mean, we're gonna have to win the boards, but I think we have enough guys that can board. I think we had 4 or 5 guys that had six or 7 rebounds, which is awesome.
And, we've got to gang rebound. You know what I mean? Listen, against Detroit, we didn't do it. We had 30 rebounds against Detroit. Against Sacramento before then, we had 39 rebounds. And there's just no excuse for this team to have 39 rebounds, to have 30 rebounds. There's no excuse for it. We have too many guys that are capable rebounders. So we've got a gang rebound, and we got guards. We got big guys that can rebound. Taj Gibson, Bobby Portis, Julius Randle, Marcus Morris can grab some rebounds. He's not a crazy rebounder, but he can grab some. RJ Barrett rebounds the basketball. Too many guys that can rebound.
And the thing is, too, I think we have a lot of size to throw at them because, Ntilikina 6'6", RJ Barrett 6'6", 6'7". I mean, Colin Sexton, I don't know how tall he is. I think he's maybe 6'2". Darius Garland's
it's like 6'1". They're both like 6'1".
Yeah, Darius Garland's like a generous 6'1" or 6 foot. I mean, you've got 2 big guards right there at 6'7" and 6'6" that can really, make it difficult. And the one thing I'll say about Ntilikina that I noticed last night is Ntilikina is realizing how big he actually is, like how big of a size he is at 6'7", 6'6", because he saw those long arms. He poked things away. He made it difficult for Luka to take shots at times. He got into passing lanes. Like he's starting to really understand his length and his athleticism and wingspan.
Yeah,
and I think that he's got to continue to do that, especially with these smaller guards. He's got to punk them in a sense. Even on offense, he's got to make them work on the defense side. He's got to wear them down because these are smaller bodies. And Ntilikina is a bigger body. RJ Barrett's a bigger body. RJ Barrett needs to go to the paint more. I think I honestly think that he is somewhat tired. I did not see as aggressive as he was the last game that I've seen him in previous games. And I think part of that is because, that is a lot of minutes for a young guy. And I just think that he maybe needs a little bit of a break. And he just didn't seem as aggressiveness because maybe he is a little tired. I mean, you play that many minutes in a row and those many games in that span, I mean, your legs are beat sometimes, even for a young guy.
But he does have. I understand what you're saying, and I think it's a valid question. I think it's a really valid question. I don't think 8 games into the season, 9 games into the season, he's going to be that tired.
But 38 minutes a clip.
38 minutes a clip. It is. But for a young guy, listen. Let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 19 years old, I would go. I would get to the court at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't leave until midnight sometimes.
Yeah.
Playing basketball all day long and doing it every single day. You're young. Your body can recover, and it'll recover fast.
I totally understand that, man. I guess for me, it just didn't seem like his aggression was there like it used to be. Now, maybe he had an off game. We'll see what happens against the Cavs. But I just sensed that the lack of aggressiveness maybe kind of sensed a little bit. Maybe his legs are a little bit tired, and maybe he was trying to maybe work more on the jumper where he didn't have to go into the paint and take the beating. Because the one thing about him, he does take a lot of hits, but he's a big body. So you don't necessarily see it, but we don't know what kind of toll it takes on his body every game. So
okay, all right. So let's get around. I want to ask Guillermo if he thinks. Guillermo, do you think the minutes?
How the hell Frank came in? How the hell?
Never mind. I'll get to Guillermo. He's having a conversation. I'll get to Isaiah and find out what Isaiah thinks about it. Isaiah, do you think minutes? Do you think the minutes that RJ is playing had an effect on last night? His game last night. I don't think it does. I don't think it does. Go ahead.
Now, we talked about it last night. I don't think him playing was the cause of him playing bad. I just think, it comes with matchups. It comes with, sometimes the matchup's not good. And sometimes he's 19 years old. He's not going to be amazing every night. I don't care what you say. He's not going to be amazing. And he had one of his bad games. It's okay. I told you last night, Sam, he's going to have another game like this. Of
course he is.
So he's fine, man. He'll be fine. I think tomorrow is a very good matchup for him because again, I mean, you got two small guards on them. There's not really that much of a shot blocking presence on the Cavaliers. So you're looking at a good time for him to do what he does best: go into the paint, uh, take the little man, and score. I think he's gonna be. I think there's gonna be a good game for him.
Okay, I think so too. I think that he'll respond, to last night's game, at least offensively. I think he played well the rest of the way. I want to talk about Dennis Smith Jr. He's back with the team. Do you see him getting any playing time?
Of course he is. He's gonna get some playing time. Fizdale loves Dennis Smith Jr. I think you know what, we do owe Dennis Smith Jr. to get some playing time. He's still a good player. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he's gonna get some playing time.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to play basketball, but after being out for what was he going for, a week and a half?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't know if Fizdale fully has his rotations down. He's kind of cut it down. 8 to 9 players play each night.
I will say this though, Sam. I will say this about what Fizdale has to do. He has to ensure Frank that you can still mess up and you'll be fine. I feel like that's a big thing because I think the reason Frank is playing so good is that Fizdale has no other choice. He has no other guards. So I think that's why we're seeing a really good version of Frank. Now, when Dennis Smith Jr. comes back, I would prefer to see Frank keep starting and Dennis Smith Jr. coming off the bench and going with the second unit because we really need a ball handler in the second unit because to me, Zoe's not really it. I think Dennis Smith Jr. can really thrive with the second unit, So I just want it to be because right now Frank confidence is you can't. It's at the best right now. You don't want to disturb that. You don't want to disturb the defense that we're causing. Because if you think about it, Seth, besides the two blowouts, we've really been playing good defense. We've been holding our opponents to like less than 110 points. We just haven't been scoring, but we've been holding them down less than 110 points besides those two blowouts. So we've been playing great defense. It's just we got to score more.
Okay defense. I don't want to say great. We've been playing okay defense.
Okay, we're playing okay defense. But you don't want to mess up a defensive backcourt of RJ and Frank, put in Dennis Smith Jr. who can't really play defense. I'd rather establish a defensive.
Well, I mean, but I'm not even asking about him starting. I'm not even going there about him starting. We're jumping all the way to him starting. I'm just talking about him playing. You worried about something that I didn't even bring that up. I'm just asking about him playing. See, that's what people do. Check this out. This is what people do. This is how people stress themselves out, Isaiah. So I'm giving you a little bit of a tidbit, and everybody else listening, I'm giving you a tidbit. This is how people stress themselves out. A situation happens, and they start worrying about something that's not even a fact. They start worrying about stuff that hasn't even happened instead of focusing on the here and now. And then they stress themselves out. You know what I'm saying? Because they're worrying about things that haven't even come to pass yet. All I'm saying is Dennis Smith Jr. going to play because he's back?
Oh, yeah, he's going to play.
That's all I'm asking. You're talking about him taking Frank Ntilikina's spot and starting, as the starter. That's not going to happen tomorrow night. Right? He's just getting back. He's got to get back in game shape. He's got to get his win back. You know what I'm saying?
But no, to keep it plain and sweet, he's going to play. And I do want, and honestly though, I do want Dennis Smith Jr. to play because again, I think he would be really good for our second unit. We don't have a ball handler in our second unit right now. So again, I think Dennis Smith Jr. can really thrive at that and really be really good at that. So I do want to see him play because I think he can still contribute to us.
Yeah. And last night, Trier and Damian Dotson, they got some burn off the bench. Trier played 16 minutes. Damian Dotson played 6 minutes. I think, those guys.
He shot a big shot too, man.
He knocked down a big one. He knocked down a big one. Obviously, those guys played in lieu of, what's his name there? I can't think of his name now. No, it just slipped my mind.
Wayne
Ellington. They played in lieu of Wayne Ellington. I'm not ready to say that they brought a super amount of, big time production. Alonzo Trier has a couple of nice drives to the basket, where he's able to penetrate the defense and get into the paint. Against the Cavs, they're vulnerable in the paint. So, if you're going to use Alonzo Trier, he'd be able to get into the paint for you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so Dennis Smith Jr., if he plays, and we'll see if he starts to try to work him in. That's what will probably happen. He'll try to work him in, but
Yeah, 'cause-
it'd be available for Dennis Smith Jr. too.
What'd you say, son?
Yeah. I said that paint area would be available for Dennis Smith Jr. too. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining in, thank you for joining in. Appreciate you guys for being here. We've been talking Knicks versus Cavs. Right? Tomorrow night, the Knicks and the Cavs play tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at Madison Square Garden. Right? And we're talking about keys to the game and certain matchup issues and certain matchups that we would like to see on the floor. All right. Of course, some of your bigger matchups or more prominent matchups are, Kevin Love versus Julius Randle, Kevin Love versus Marcus Morris. Maybe those are more prominent, but there's some other key matchups, that I'd like to look at as well, or that we did look at. If you're just joining me, go over it for you once more, really quick. All right. Let's start. The Knicks play the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks are on a homestand, a little bit of a homestand. They play 5 of their next 6 games at the Garden. The only game that's not at the Garden is versus Chicago. Of course, that's in Chicago. Tomorrow night, the Knicks play on MSG. The projected starters for the New York Knicks are Frank Ntilikina at point guard, R.J. Barrett at shooting guard, Marcus Morris at small forward, Julius Randle at power forward, and Taj Gibson at center. Mitchell Robinson, he's out still with a concussion. Elfrid Payton, he's out with a right hamstring. Reggie Bullock is out with a neck/death in the family. Dennis Smith Jr. is back with the team. We'll see if he plays tomorrow, but he's back with the team. Cleveland Cavaliers, they're 3-5 on the season. Their starters are Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Cedi Osman. Power forward is Kevin Love. Center is Tristan Thompson. Let me tell you something. Those two guys, man, Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson, they're playing well offensively and on the boards. Injury report for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Dylan Windler's got a lower leg. He's out. John Henson is out with a hamstring. Ante Zizic is out with a foot. All right, let's take a look at some of the numbers behind these two teams. Again, the Knicks are 2-7. The Cavaliers are 3-5. The Knicks are on a 1-game win streak, and so are the Cavaliers. The Knicks average 100.6 points per game. Their opponents average 109.4 points per game. The Knicks shoot 42.4% from the field, 36.7% from 3. They grab 46.1 rebounds per game. They average 19.7 assists per game, and that number is slowly creeping up as they play with a faster pace, as they start to get out and transition a little bit more, as Julius Randle plays a little bit more downhill, as the ball is moving, those assist numbers are starting to creep up, and the turnovers numbers are creeping down. That's a very good sign. The Knicks' defensive rating is 109.4. That's 23rd in the league. Their offensive rating is 100.6. That's 28th in the league. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they average 107 points per game. Their opponents average 110.6 points per game. They shoot 43.6% from the field and 33.6% from 3. They grab 46.3 rebounds per game, and most of those rebounds are grabbed by Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson. They average 14 and 12, respectively. The Cavaliers average 21.4 assists per game, and for the most part, they take care of the ball. They only average 14.1 turnovers per game. Some of the key matchups to look at. One is the rookie matchup. Darius Garland, he's a rookie, 6'1", 192 pounds, point guard. He's averaging 8.5 points per game, 1.5 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists per game, and no blocks. Like I said earlier, for those guards, I'm going to substitute blocks for steals for the guards. Darius Garland right now is shooting 32.5% from the field and 27.6% from 3. Now, R.J. Barrett, he's 6'6", 214 pounds. He's a guard forward. He had a bad game last night, one of his worst games of a young career, not even a young season, but a young career for R.J. Barrett. So it's worth noting that he had a bad game last night because I want to see how he rebounds. Let me back up. He had a bad game scoring-wise, but he still had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and he still did things to help the team. So he didn't have a bad overall game. He was just off from the field. Some people believe it's due to his minutes, playing so many minutes. I don't. I think it's too early for that. I think he just had an off night from the field. But he's averaging 16.2 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 3.9 assists per game, and 0.3 blocks per game. He's shooting 40.3% from the field and 35.5% from three. And look, that 40.3% from the field is down because he had such an atrocious shooting night last night. Right? He was shooting, like 44% coming into the game. The next matchup we want to look at is Colin Sexton and Frank Ntilikina. And I can guarantee you Frank Ntilikina is going to be guarding Colin Sexton because Colin Sexton is fast. And Frank Ntilikina is one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. Last night, Frank Ntilikina had to match up with Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic had 32 points or whatever he had, but Frank did a really good job. You know what I'm saying? Frank helped to force him into 8 turnovers last night. 8 turnovers. Now, Luka averages 5, but Frank helped force those turnovers. He was scrappy, and he dealt with the size. Even when Luka took him into the post, Frank dealt with it. Frank learns defensively, Frank really does learn on the fly. You got to watch it. So he figures out how to defend the person he's defending. But it says something. It really is a testament to Frank that he can go from guarding someone like Luka, who is stronger and is very crafty with the ball, to then turn around and guard someone like Colin Sexton, who's very fast and speedy, smaller. Frank Ntilikina is 6'7", 200 pounds, averages 5.5 points per game, 2.3 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists per game, and 0.2 blocks per game. But it's not telling the full story. Over the last 2 games, Frank Ntilikina is averaging 12.5 points per game, averaging about 6 assists per game, about 2 or 3 blocks per game. That's over the last 2 games. So these numbers don't tell the full story on Frank. He's shooting 39.1% from the field, 42.1% from 3. That number really is skewed, though, because he was 4 for 5 last night. So he was 80% last night. All right, so that number's a little bit skewed, but we'll take it for what it's worth. The next matchup, Kevin Love versus Julius Randle. Right now, this could also be Kevin Love versus Marcus Morris. We'll see how. We're going to see how Coach Fizdale chooses to defend Kevin Love. He may use Marcus Morris on Kevin Love. We'll see. But these are the names. Right? And these likely would match up at some point. They're both 6'8". They're both around 250 pounds. Kevin Love averages 18.5 points per game. Of course, he's killing on the boards at 14.1. He always has. Averages 3.9 assists, 0.6 blocks per game. He shoots 49.5% from the field, 36.7% from 3. So whoever is guarding him will have to be careful not to let him get loose from 3, but also have to deal with him in the post. All right, Kevin Love can play inside and out. He's not the kind of guy that's going to take you off the dribble, but he can post and he can shoot the 3. And of course, he can knock down the mid-range. All right, Julius Randle, he's averaging 15 points per game. Over the last 2 games, he's averaging 20. He's averaging 9.3 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and 0.2 turnover blocks per game. I said turnovers because we all know he averages about 4 turnovers per game as well. Julius Randle shooting 43.4% from the field and 19.4% from 3. Over the last 2 games, he's been shooting better. Coach Fizdale's been using him in a better situation, helping him to get downhill, letting him catch the ball when he's on the move, not just throwing him in the post. All right, so there's been a better scheme on how to use Julius Randle. maybe Coach Fizdale's watches these shows, because a lot of the things that we talk about here, we see him doing in the game. I'm not going to say anything, though. Shh. Don't tell nobody. We might be the secret to Coach Fizdale's sauce. Keys to the game. Number one, we got to continue to play with the urgency on defense. We got to continue to play with that urgency. We can't let Colin Sexton get loose. We don't want the guards to get loose, Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. We don't want them getting loose on us because they're small and shifty. We don't want them getting loose. Okay? We got to find a way to defend. We got to defend Kevin Love. Like Guillermo said, Kevin Love can get a silent 20 and it may not even affect the game, but you don't want him to affect the game because he can. I said we got to come with that same sense of urgency and desperation tomorrow night. The same way we did versus Dallas, we've got to come into tomorrow night's game with Cleveland with the same mindset. And it's at home, so we got to protect home court. We got to stay disciplined in that half-court set, in the half-court defense. All right, the Cavaliers are 27th in the league in fast break points. They're not getting up and down the floor, at least not yet, at least not right now. So we've got to stay disciplined in the half-court, close out on shooters. They shoot about 33 three-pointers per game. I think they average about 89 field goal attempts per game. A third of them, or maybe more than a third of them, are three-point attempts. All right, so we got to be mindful and not let them get loose, not let them get hot from the three-point line. We can't let them shoot wide open three-pointers. All right? So we've got to play well in the half court. We got to play 24 seconds of half court defense. And we don't want them to get loose in transition. Because they got guys that can get up and down the floor. Darius Garland, he can get up and down the floor. Colin Sexton, is one of the fastest guys in the league. Larry Nance Jr., he can run the floor. He can springboard out the building if he wants to. All right, so we've got to make sure we don't let these guys get loose and let them springboard their transition game, their fast break game off of us. We got to battle on the glass. As I said earlier, Tristan Thompson, he's averaging 12 rebounds a game. Kevin Love, he's averaging 14 rebounds a game. You got other guys out there that can rebound the basketball as well. So we can't let these guys dominate the glass. There's no reason why we can't be a top rebounding team, and we should be, because we have rebounders on the floor. I believe with Taj Gibson out there and just some of the basketball IQ he brings to the team, he'll be in good rebounding position, and he'll make sure other players are in good rebounding position if they're not. I love having the value. I love the value of having Taj on the floor. When I'm done with this, we're going to talk about it with the group. But we got to make sure we battle on the glass. Try to win this rebounding battle. We got to take advantage of the size of our guards. They're playing two guards that are 6'1", and Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. We got two guards that are 6'6" or 6'7". We should be able to score in the paint by posting them up. Now, we don't want it to become a slow game where, we're just trying to pound the ball to RJ, Frank, Julius Randle in the post. But there's some possessions where we should find these guys in the post and take advantage of our guard size. We can shoot over top of them. And on the other end, Frank Ntilikina and RJ Barrett can guard both of those guys. All right? We got to continue to push the pace. Keep pushing it. Our pace is trying to slowly rise. Continue to push the pace. All right? Get up and down the floor when we have the opportunities. Starts with rebounding. Rebound the ball, let's get out. Get a turnover, let's get out. Now, they take care of the ball. But let's get out and push the pace. Attack the paint. While we're pushing the pace, attack the paint. I don't know if Dennis Smith Jr. is going to play, but if he's playing, he might be able to help us attack the paint. He's probably got to get back in shape. Alonzo Trier can help us attack the paint. We can attack the paint by using Frank Ntilikina and RJ Barrett in those post areas. All right, so we can get inside, get in the paint. Why? Because the Cavs give up 53 points per game in the paint, so they're vulnerable in that area. They are vulnerable. So let's take advantage of it. And if we're going to attack the paint, we're probably going to get fouled. But we've got to make our free throws, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, the Knicks are the worst free throw shooting team in the league at 65.3%. That's terrible. We should be able to make our free throws, folks. We got to be able to make our free throws. Those are my keys to the game, man. What are yours? Call me, 516-405-2246. Subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I go live, drop a video, or post in my community section. If you're on Sportscaster, follow me on Sportscaster. Also, subscribe to my channel on YouTube if you're on Sportscaster. I put a link in the chat. Come on over and subscribe. Facebook, Twitter. If you're watching, come on over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Right? Because obviously, the chat is glad to have you. Now, let's get to these guys, man. I want to talk about Taj Gibson a little bit. All right. And what happens with Mitch when he comes back? Do we keep Taj Gibson as the starter? And how will it impact Mitch if that's the case? I mean, I tend to think it would be a good thing for Mitch. Also, though, like Nate was saying earlier, without Mitch in the game, then we're vulnerable in the paint. So, we got to look at both sides of the story. Guillermo, I'm going to come to you, man. Tell me, Guillermo, if we go on a win streak and Taj Gibson is playing well, and he's part of that win streak, which if we go on a win streak, I think he will be part of it, just due to his basketball IQ, his respect level on the floor. He can tell guys that they're missing their rotations, and guys are going to listen and respect them. Marcus Morris, Julius Randle. You know what I'm saying? So he makes a big difference out there defensively, not just obviously not from blocking shots, but because he can be the general, right? So tell me, what happens if we're winning some ball games, Taj Gibson is starting at center, and then Mitch comes back?
Well, if Fizzo wants to keep his job, he has to go with the uniform, man. And I don't think it's just Mitch. Damn, I would love to see Taj Gibson in those starting lineups. But again, Mitchell Robinson, as talented as he is, he hasn't been as that good defensively against our the front courts we've been playing. So I'm not trying to, I mean, I understand where Nate's coming from, but again, if you take Mitch out and you keep Taj Gibson, who's been a lot more active on the boards, and yes, like you say, he can be that front court general where he's telling guys how to be in position, stuff like that. Yeah, he has to stay in the game. But on the flip side, a person who could come out if they're not, if they're wavering in their performance could also be Randall. You can play a lineup where you have Taj Gibson playing the four, because Taj Gibson can hit that little shot, and he doesn't take as many dribbles, or he's very direct with his movements. You know what I mean? So I don't mind seeing a lineup out there if Randall's just not doing well. Especially defensively, if he's killing us defensively like he has some of these past few games, you keep Taj Gibson in there because Taj Gibson, he comes around on those pick and rolls, man. Randall doesn't. And
right.
This Knicks team right now, as you've seen, we are winning from defense. Yes, guys are having good games offensively, but we're not winning with guys scoring 40, 50 points tonight. We're winning with guys scoring 3 here, 18 here, and then lockdown defense in key moments. Lockdown defense against some of their best, the better guys in the backcourt with Frank and with Taj and even RJ. So again, to me, you flip that lineup around, you see what works. And also, Mitchell Robinson does not need to start, like you said. I know people have had concussions. I've had a mild concussion before. You said your daughter had a concussion. You don't need to rush Mitchell Robinson back.
No,
let him slowly ease him back in. He could be a guy who comes off the bench. And also again, he can learn from Taj. Watch Taj last night. It was a clinic in terms of how he shifted his feet. There's things that Mitchell Robinson can still learn. I know that you wanted Mitch to, to kind of come off the bench if he's not, blah, blah, at the beginning of the season. And in some regards, I agree, especially now that he has the concussion, the things that he learned from Taj Gibson, and it doesn't hurt for him to sit down and see how things are going and then come in and know what his defined role is. All right, I know this guy is trying to drive to the basket. I know this point guard, say a Kemba Walker, he's, switching and then trying to drive on the big guys to draw fouls and stuff like that. But I saw what Taj did. I just saw that Taj went up instead of trying to meet him with any things like that. You know what I mean? So Mitchell Robinson still has a lot to learn. I don't mind him coming off the bench, especially if Taj Gibson's giving us what we need on both the defensive and now even offensive end. Because now he's you saw that putback dunk that he had, that clutch putback dunk he had, I think in the second or third quarter, I can't remember. You see the little mid-range shots he's hitting. You know what I mean? And Mitchell Robinson gets that ball near the mid-range. I don't know if he has a green light like that, but if he does have the green light, take that shot, man. Take that shot and keep the defenses on it. So I agree with you, man. If let
Yeah.
Taj play if he's doing well.
Yeah. And listen, what's been well, first of all, up until the last 2 games, Taj hasn't really played that much.
Right.
And I think it hurt us with him not playing. I really do. I think it hurt us because just the knowledge that he brings to the game. And so
Yeah.
I think it really did hurt us not playing him those few games. And then
And Sim, remember what he said about when he was on the Bulls? Like, because it's crazy. We keep talking about the switching stuff, right?
Mhm.
Remember what he said about the Bulls? I think it was before the Brooklyn game. I can't remember. But he said, "Yo, yeah, that 2011 team, oh, it was so beautiful defensively, blah, blah, blah. We switched on everything." And you know why they switched on everything? Because their bigs were active on defense. Their bigs sold out on defense. So, Mitchell Robinson can learn from that. You don't have to sit there and peek and wait until the guy sets up. Come around and be aggressive on that switch, man. So again, Taj has so much to teach these guys. I know we keep talking about get around the pick and stuff, but it depends on your opponent. And these big men can be a lot more active, man. If Taj can do it, then Mitchell Robinson, Randall, and Portis can do the same thing Taj is doing in terms of switching and being active. When you got to play a Kemba, you got to play a Kyrie. The pick and roll happens, or the pick happens.
right. And look, Mitchell Robinson is really only getting 17, 18 minutes per game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, and he's still getting those 2 blocks in those 17 to 18 minutes per game. His body just isn't developed yet. And he's just so much to learn about the game. Before long, he's going to be the bona fide starter with no questions at all.
Right.
There's just still a lot that he has to learn. I really want to see Taj Gibson get more playing time.
Amen.
I know that he's not going to be able to play 30 minutes a game, because of his age and stuff like that. But in key moments in the game, you have him in there, maybe even down the stretch, you have him in there because he just knows how to get it done.
He's our Jared Jack in the front court, man.
Yeah.
Like you said about Mitch, man. Mitch still has a lot to go, and I take this, man. Taj Gibson's not going to be in the NBA for mad long, right? A lot of these guys, some of these veterans are going to go to other teams. Mitchell Robinson needs to learn as much as possible from all these guys. He needs to see it. Like I said, when DJ was there last year, man, Mitchell Robinson looked like a totally different person. I'm not talking about blocks. I know he had 100. His feet, his footing, his awareness, his foul run down, everything about him, everything that doesn't come on a stat card, improving. Like you said, yeah, the Travis box. But the thing that Taj Gibson does, how many favorable possessions do you get where a guy shoots a bad shot or a guy has to pass it out because you defended him well? Then no one takes that on the stat sheet. I mean, there's probably some advanced analytics or whatever, but we look at everything as in blocks, right? Yeah, I can average 2 blocks a game. That only means at best 6 points. But how many bad possessions do I get? How much do I disrupt that other team? That doesn't show up on the cards, man. So learn as much from Taj Gibson before Taj Gibson goes off, retires, or goes to another team, man. But right now, Mitch Robinson, learn as much as possible, soak in as much as possible with Taj Gibson. Because Taj Gibson, last night, from what I saw, how active he was on the when he had that putback dunk, Sim, I said, nah, this boy has to play, man. Because how many times have you seen it where on offensive rebounds, a guy is crashing into the traffic to get a putback dunk? Like we don't have that. Since Cantor, we never had guys
on
offense.
So now, do you think Dennis Smith Jr. gets any playing time?
He's not active, right? It sucks because
I don't know if he's with the team. I don't know if they have him active or not.
Dennis Smith Jr. right now, Sim. I don't know when Alfred Payton comes back, but Dennis Smith Jr. right now, man, he's a guy. Unfortunately, plays with a lot of emotion, right? You know guys like that, right? They can, when everything is good, they'll give you 30, 40 points. They'll give you career numbers. Then when everything is down, man, and he's a guy that he literally operates too much in emotion. I think right now, because obviously what happened to stepmom is extremely unfortunate. Rest in peace to her. I would prefer, and Kadeem Allen's hurt too. Damn. I'd rather him sit out because right now with what Frank is doing,
You know, I understand he might come in as a second unit guy, but he's not a facilitator. Him, Trier. Trier last night, from what I saw, he went back to some of his bad habits in terms of the lack of court awareness. I just would rather DSJ kind of sit out and grieve as much as possible, get it out, and then practice with the team, kind of learn, watch Frank, watch how the offense is flowing, and also heal up with his back because his back is hurting too. Because if you bring a kid like that in and you put him in some clutch time moments, say he came in last night when Frank comes out, his back is still not good and he's making a whole bunch of mistakes. You put the mistakes plus him grieving his stepmom, it just spells recipe for disaster. This is a guy whose confidence already been shot from the Mavericks and stuff like that. So if we find value in DJ, if we still want to be in this team, I'd rather him sit him out, heal as much as possible, both physically, mentally, emotionally. Get that all out. I don't want to rush him back.
Yeah, but how do you know?
now.
I mean, if he comes back and he says he's ready emotionally, then his back is one thing, but I think if he comes back and he's like, yeah, I'm ready, emotionally, I'm ready to go. I'm not saying you put him in and you got to ease him back in too. You know what I mean? Because you started something, you got to ease him back in.
When your children are telling you one thing and they really mean the other thing, right? So I'm not saying these guys are psychologists, but it's up to us as a team. Every player that wants to win is always going to say, "I'm ready." It don't matter. You could cut off their arm, you could punch him in the face. I'm ready. You see in the football, we got to make sure that he's
right
in the mental space.
So how do you determine that? Without going through him, how do you determine that? I mean,
look, Sim, if we have some games where I don't know when this will happen, but if we're winning by 20 some points, yes, you give him garbage minutes to kind of ease him back. Yes, I agree with that 1,000%. But in these crunch time moments, because we didn't see it before, Sim.
Well, no, but I'm not saying bring him back then. I'm just saying, does he play? He might only play 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But does he play? Do they start getting him back in? Does he play at all?
Yeah. To get him back into the motion of things, especially with Payton out, you slowly ease him back in. 5 minutes here, 7 minutes here, 10 minutes here. But I just don't want I don't want him pressing, because when we saw him in that Celtics game, the first time he came in, he sucked. Then when he came back in the second half, he sucked. Guys were booing. I don't think people are gonna boo just because it's his stepmom. So I think people are gonna ease up on him.
They're gonna
want that weird, awkward feeling where it's like, I can't boo you, but I don't want you on the court because you're just not doing well right now. So.
Right. But this might be the game being home, because I'm gonna tell you what, when he comes back in the game at the Garden, the crowd is gonna cheer him.
Right.
So this might be a good time. This is his first. It would be his first game back. If he's active, let him step on the court. Let the crowd cheer him. Get that good feeling from the crowd, because the last time he was at the Garden probably wasn't really a good feeling, right? And then of course he had everything with his family. Let him come back, get a good feeling from the crowd, get cheered by the crowd. Maybe he only gets a couple of minutes, but at least he comes back and gets a good feeling.
I don't mind that, man. Yeah. I just don't want it where we bring him in and it's like bad things happen on court because he's in, because that could destroy his confidence even more. I'm looking out more for him. I'm not saying that we should never play him. I still think he's talented. I just want him. He's so emotional. Like, he's not a guy who on the court you just see like you can't really touch him. Like, good or bad, he's the same even kill kind of guy. Like, I just don't want it where he comes in, even if it's 5 minutes, and then it's like, all right, 3 turnovers, 2 fouls, and it's like, all right, take him off the court.
Yeah, I feel you. And it's going to be up to Fizdale, if he does pull him in, to recognize. Here's a philosophy that I've always taken with players that I'm trying to get their confidence up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a lot of players, trust me, that didn't belong on the floor. But when I would put them in a game, I really tried not to take them out when they did something wrong. Now, if they were just hurting the team, then you got to do what you got to do. But when I had players in, they might come in, they make a couple of baskets, grab a couple of rebounds. I pull them out the game, because I know that this player, and a lot of people would look like, yo, why'd you take him out? But I know this guy has diminishing returns because he's not that good yet. So, he'd get those few rebounds, couple of putbacks or whatever it is, Like, okay, let me take him out now, because I would rather have that person mad at me, feeling like, Coach, I can do this, come out feeling confident, right? And I let him know, listen, you didn't do anything wrong. It's all good. We're just doing a lineup change. But he might be a little upset with me, but he feels confident, right?
Right.
He's building that confidence up. So he's doing good things in small stretches until it can go longer and longer and longer. You know what I mean?
So what would I'll ask you a better question. Can you name me 1 or 2 plays that you will run for DSJ that will build up his confidence and get him comfortable? Like, what would you do to be like, I know DSJ is good at this. Let's run this for DSJ to kind of get him in the groove of game and kind of get him back into
I mean, clearly, Dennis Smith Jr. is very good in, exploding to the basket. I try to set up something so he can get an explosion play to the basket. You know what I mean? Not really a backdoor alley-oop type of thing, but if you can get him, if he's on one side of the floor, coming off a screen, coming off maybe 2 screens to the other side of the floor, where he can catch the ball, and as soon as he catches the ball, he can take a couple dribbles to the basket and get into the lane. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Not anything where he's holding the ball, trying to dribble a bunch of times, because because he's not going to have the rhythm to do that. But if you can catch him on the move to the basket, boom, boom, and he goes up, to try to get him in a groove that way. That's what I would do. Now, look, I don't even know if he's going to be active, because they would probably want him to go through some practices first before he even touched the floor. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Nate,
We
Go
talking
ahead,
about
Nate.
Dennis Smith?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I guess, are we talking about like what his thing is going forward, or
Well, we were just talking
on?
about. I mean, we're just not even going forward. We were just talking about right now, since he's back with the team. Is he going to play at all?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, right now we need a backup point guard. I mean, I don't like Trier playing point guard. I thought he did okay of a job, but he's not a point guard. He rather be scoring and getting to the hoop rather than dishing the ball out. Dennis Smith brings a lot of when healthy, he brings a lot of athleticism that we probably need, because, like you said, Frank is not a guy who's going to penetrate into the paint. He's going to go more east and west and set up players and stuff like that. Unless it was KP, then he dunk on him. But I mean, it's going to be interesting, Sim. Like I said before, because once these other 2 point guards are healthy and Frank keeps playing like he's playing now, Fizdale's already playing a very small lineup. He's only playing like what, maybe 8 deep, 8, 9 or deep at the most.
Yeah, 8, 9 players.
Rotation.
8, 9 players, and that 9th player is only getting like last night.
I don't know.
Damian Dotson got like 6 minutes.
8 or 9 players.
Yeah, last night Damian Dotson got like 6 minutes. So
Exactly. So you're going to see 2 players that are.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't.
Exactly.
We can't.
So
we can't hear. We can't hear whoever's talking to you, Nate.
Smith gets healthy and Peyton gets healthy, I mean, unless Frank.
I don't know what's going on there with Nate. I kind of lost him a little bit. I don't know if he was paying attention to somebody else or what, but we can't hear who was talking to you, Nate. I'm gonna come to Andy. I'm gonna come back to you, Nate. I'm gonna come to Andy. All right. Andy, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's up, Sim?
How you feeling? Glad to see you.
Yeah, happy to be joining, man. Now you're doing European time, but it's an hour too early for me.
Yeah.
Normally I would join in. Just I had a busy Saturday, so it's fine,
good.
man.
No, I get it. We were talking about.
Sam, I got a question for you before we start, even.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you superstitious, man?
Am I superstitious?
Yeah.
Not really. Not really. Not really.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking you this. Yesterday, the Dallas game, was I don't remember how many games I always watch them live. Yesterday I said I'm not gonna watch it live because I got a busy Saturday. I'm just not gonna watch it. And they won. Man, I'm not gonna watch the second game, the Cleveland game live. I'm gonna rewatch it in the morning. I'm gonna see if they're gonna win that game.
Oh, you know what? Here's the funny thing. I am superstitious that way. I can remember when I was young, right? I was young and I would be watching the games. I would hate to turn away from the TV because I felt like every time I left the television to go get something to eat or something like that, I come back and they're losing, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like every time, or I felt like if I didn't watch the game, we would lose.
Yeah,
You know, so
I'm like that
definitely
when I was,
superstitious.
gearing up for the basketball game. I always tie my left shoe first, then the right one. And when the team is doing well, I'm not even moving, man. When the Knicks are on a roll, I'm not even moving because if I budge, I'm thinking they're going to lose points. So I'm crazy like that when the Knicks are winning, man, because of the lack of wins last time. I'm not going to risk the Cleveland game, man.
Not gonna risk it. Yeah, don't risk it. We don't need you to risk it.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem, man. If if they're going to really go on a winning streak, man. I don't know if I can take rewatching the game.
Yeah, right.
Looking at the internet, man.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. But to the point, Sim, I heard you guys were talking about DSJ. From what I learned that he's back with the team, but they're trying to ease him in on the conditioning stuff even. Because, it was a couple of days, and to be in NBA shape, you got to be tip-top shape. So from what I heard, they're not going to let him play. Maybe only a couple of minutes, but it's going to be like you said, in some blowout situation or in a couple of games. And no, I really think it's a good idea. I think he needs to get an opportunity, of course, but I think he needs to fight for the minutes in the training sessions because I don't think no one deserves to get minutes over guys that got us yesterday's W and stuff like that. And I don't think Frank is the last guy I would pull from the starting five or even cut his minutes to ease in a guy like DSJ.
Oh, right. Oh, definitely. You've got to, Frank, I think he's proved his value to the Knicks by now. He had to, and he's going to be on the floor.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Because if Fizz would Fizz would pull a stunt like, I don't know, Alfred's back from the injury, and he's going to bench Frank and then start Alfred just for only the reason because he's back from an injury. Oh man, Fizz is going to burn on the stack for that.
Yeah. Now,
he can't afford that.
The one thing I'll say about Fizdale is I feel like sometimes, I always say that I feel like he watches the show. Not just this show, all the stuff. I really do, right? Because every time we talk about something, the other day I did a game preview, and I said I wasn't sure who he was going to start, that I think he should start Taj Gibson, though. And here's why Taj Gibson started. I'm not saying that he was following me, right? But I think he has a good pulse of what the fans want. And he starts to make some adjustments, I think, based on fans. I really do. Some of the things, every time we start hearing tremors, people, where's Trier? Where's Trier? All of a sudden, Trier pops up in the lineup. You know what I'm saying? Frank should be this, Frank should be that. All of a sudden, Frank pops up. I feel like he does something to appease fans. You know what I'm saying? So whether or not he watches the show, I don't know. But I feel like he pays attention to what fans are thinking, and he does some things to appease fans. I really do think that. So
but if you would have a record like he had within this season, you have to try to pull a stunt just to
you gotta try something, right? You gotta try something. Say, hey, maybe these guys know.
I think, and you gotta do it for the public, man. Sometimes because you're
right.
Really hurt.
Nah, I feel you there. Yeah. Hey, we're supposed to be Knicks fans supposed to be the most knowledgeable fans. That's what they say. Yeah. So maybe he's like, hey, I'll give it a try. What the fans talking about? We'll see what they say. Yeah. You got to try something, man. Yeah, but I would hate to see, I don't know when Elfrid Payton is going to come back. Hamstrings can be funny.
If Frank is going to play like this, I don't think they're going to rush him even if he's, available and stuff like that. I don't think there's a point even to rush him.
Right.
If it's going, good for Frank. And I understand maybe the record, Yeah.
Yeah. You still there, Andy?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nah, I get it. And well, here's where I would see the value in Elfrid Payton. Right, Elfrid Payton and DSJ. If Frank Ntilikina is going to be the starter, Elfrid Payton and DSJ could be a pretty good backcourt in the second unit because Elfrid Payton, he's a distributor, and DSJ, he's also a defender, and DSJ is an offensive guy that you can just let loose in the back. You can let loose in that second unit, especially if you look and you're saying, well, Wayne Ellington hasn't been bringing us anything. We're going to keep him on the bench. Now, the problem with that unit would be shooting. But they could be if Dennis Smith Jr. gets back to attacking and going to the basket, which to me, clearly he's still hurting. I know Guillermo was touching on it earlier. He's still hurting. He's still having some back issues, I think. But if he can get back to being one of those guys that attacks the basket when it's available, and then you got Elfrid Payton, that could be a nice dynamic attacking type of backcourt in the second unit.
Yeah, and you're gonna have Kevin Knox there as well, man. And he's
exactly
shooting this season out of my mind, even because I knew he can shoot the ball and stuff like that, but this season he's really tremendous in that point zone.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let me. We just Die Hard Knicks podcast is in the building, so let me say what's up to my man. Die Hard, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. How you feeling after last night's win, and how you feel about this game tomorrow night?
Well, after last night, man, Frank Ntilikina finally stepping out of his shell, man. I mean, that's what the doctor ordered. We've been trying to get him to do that for like 3 years now.
Yeah, man.
The deer in the headlights look from the kid.
Yeah, man. He looked confident. He's playing confident. He looks confident. So I feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he could be on to something. His confidence. Me and Tony Crow had a discussion about Frank Ntilikina with Walt Clyde Frazier last year. And he said the thing he's missing is confidence. Well, he's looking confident on the floor right now. He's looking real confident.
Right.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Well, for me with Fizdale I've been trying to catch you for the longest. I gotta say, man, you with your late night show after the game and whatever. But from the first game in San Antonio, when he started RJ, I thought that he was starting Trayer at the point guard, but it was really RJ Barrett. So from the beginning, I mean, he's been playing games with like this lineup and stuff like that. Even when everybody got hurt, he still didn't start Frank. So it's like he's still trying to figure things out, and just the whole confidence and all this other stuff. But now that he's forced to play Frank, it's just like we could finally just start to let the ball roll, And you guys were talking about DSJ. I just want to make the point that this whole Trayer thing, he hasn't been playing Trayer because he's been trying to find that answer off the bench as far as the scoring and stuff like that. So my hope is that as soon as DSJ get his mind right, get healthy and all this other stuff, and like a month from now, that DSJ will be that guy that we've been looking for as far as with what he's trying to get from Trayer off the bench,
Yeah. And then, of course, how long will it be if, let's say, Dennis Smith Jr. comes back and he's starting to find his game, and now he's dropping 14, 15 points a game off the bench.
Right.
Then our people are going to start saying, well, he should be starting because he can score.
That's
I think that
people got it twisted. A lot of people that complain, they say like the people that hate Frank it's all about his aggressiveness. I know it's from me. On my podcast, I kill him every single podcast, just because of his aggressiveness. If he was just aggressive, then he would basically do what he did last night. We've been waiting for that for like 3 years. But like the whole scoring thing, you got to have a balance when it comes to certain things. So I mean, like you want Frank to be that facilitator. You want him to get the ball to Randall on the move. You can't have Randall pass, being the point forward. You got to have that lead guard, and Frank is that guy. Then you got Morris on one side, then you got RG on the next. So Frank is the guy in the middle that's going to get everything working. So I mean, when you need scoring, now you got a guy named like DSJ to come off the bench and do what he does. Like you guys you were talking about the backdoor screens, and maybe even have them the way Golden State does the screens to send them down the middle. Same thing like that, just to get him going, because we're gonna need that. And
Yeah.
then like the herky jerky with Trayer and stuff like that through the legs and all that other stuff. Dennis doesn't really do that. So
He doesn't.
it
That's
fits
one.
better. I think everything fits better with the way we want to play, with the way Fizdale wants to play.
Well, with the way Fizz wants to play, yeah, he doesn't do that. He's kind of straight. I'm gonna get the ball and I'm gonna go to the basket. And I'm gonna attack it. I really am hoping. I don't know if he's active right now, but I am hoping that he gets a chance to at least step on the floor, hear the cheers from the Garden tomorrow, because I'm pretty sure fans are going to be anxious to cheer him, to kind of apologize for what happened opening night. You know what I mean? So I hope he gets a chance to at least step on the floor tomorrow night. That'd be good for his confidence, and it'd just be good all around to just feel the love from the crowd after everything they've been going through. So yeah, I definitely hope so. Well, what's your prediction for tomorrow night? You got the Knicks winning? You think are we winning?
Well, the prediction, like you went through the whole matchups and stuff like that. I think the Knicks match up, pretty well with them. But it comes down to just game plan for us. We have to just play our game. We haven't really played our game yet, because Fizdale's still fooling around with the lineups and stuff, who he wants to play and this and the other. But as far as like I said, it's matchups. Like we got Frank guarding Sexton, which is a great matchup. You know what I'm saying? Just to get him working like that, and then RJ playing against this other kid, Garland, whatever. It all works, because, and also they don't have a shot blocker, so they're gonna be plotting on the inside and all that. So I just think we match up well, and we just have better scorers. Like as far as like Portis coming off the bench and things of that nature, that we could bang with them. But the most important thing is that we gotta protect. The three, and just don't let Garland get hot. We can't let Seti. We can't let Seti get hot. We can't let these little guys get hot the same way this guy what's the guy's name, the Tony Snell. Tony Snell is just the way he went crazy on us. We can't let that stuff go down the same way like it did in those games, man.
Right. So you think we win this one? Are we going to make it two in a row?
I don't want to say absolutely, man, because every time you say absolutely, that's when the Knicks kick you in the rear end.
Yeah.
But I think this is easy. I think if there's an easy game to win, I think tomorrow will be a decent game to win for us.
Okay. All right. Guillermo, I want to find out from you, man. Do you think the Knicks win? Are we going to get a win tomorrow?
Why do you do this to me, Sim? Last time I said we we're going to lose to the Mavs, and what happened?
I'm trying to get your prediction, man. I said the same thing. I said we were going to lose.
Look like this. I'll give it a caveat, man, because if we play like we played yesterday, man, especially on defensive end, if we're active on the board, especially with guys like what's this bum's name? The big man they got, I can't remember his damn name. Tristan Thompson, thank you. If we do that and we could shut down Sexton or allow him not to be as effective as he's been in the past, then yeah, I think we could win. I don't think it's a blowout win. I still think it's a close win, because I think guys are still trying to find themselves. Randall still has to learn how to play smart and not over dribble, and give us many turnovers and make those decisions. But we play like we did yesterday, man, and Fizzle doesn't do any stupid things with the lineup, like take Frank out or something like that, and only give him like 10 minutes or some stupid crap he does. That I think we win.
Okay. All right. And see, guys are scared to make predictions, man. Guys don't want to make those predictions. I predicted that we was going to lose to the Mavericks too. But yeah, I'm happy to be wrong. Happy to be wrong. Nate, what's your prediction on this game?
Yeah, man, we're going to win. Come on. At home, in the Garden. I mean, these two teams are probably the same kind of makeup in the sense. I think our team's a little more talented than theirs is. Yeah, I mean, I'm a believer, man. I've been on the Frank train. I mean, when he plays defense like he did last night against an all-star player and makes it difficult and uncomfortable, I mean, this team can take it to another level. His poise, his knack for passing, his defensive ability. I mean, he's a game changer in some aspects on that end. And the Cavs really don't have a player like that. I mean, they have bigs that can rebound and all that, but I think inserting Taj Gibson into the lineup is definitely going to help. because Taj is a very stellar player, very underrated. A lot of people don't talk a lot about him, but he just does a lot of intangibles, kind of like Frank does. You know, they walk quietly but carry a big stick. You know.
Okay. All right. Andy, what's your prediction for the game? What's your prediction for the game, man?
I'm gonna go reverse like last time, man. I think that I expect a W, but I'm gonna say that the Cavs are gonna blow us up, man.
Oh,
I'm gonna sleep it over. So let's go for a W.
Reverse psychology. He's playing the reverse psych. I used to listen. I used to do that too when I was younger, and I'd be like, the Knicks gonna lose this game. Knowing in my heart, I think they're gonna win, but I didn't want to be feel cocky and all that kind of stuff. So. I'd say that. So, playing that reverse psychology role, you know what I mean? But 2 in a row, I can feel 2 in a row coming. I think we can get 2 in a row. I think we win tomorrow.
Man, if it's not going to be now, it might not be this season. So let's take the opportunity and try to grab it.
Yeah, I think that from last night's game, they're going to take some confidence away from it. We were able to do some things to close the game, and it was different than Chicago's game, right? Because in Chicago, we still got down double digits and then had to fight back. Yesterday, we kind of controlled the game from the jump. So it was very different than that Chicago game. Because we started the game with a 9, 11-point lead, whatever it was, in the first quarter. We had a nice lead in the first quarter, 8-point lead or something like that. And then we controlled it the rest of the game. We let them come back and take a lead, but we were able to fight off that run and then close the game out. So I think that game was very different than, obviously, the other games because we lost, but very different than the Chicago game. That was a good... a win that a good team would get, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we're a good team yet. I'm just saying it was that kind of a win, and they can take so much from that win yesterday or last night, that I think they're going to build on it and win and beat Cleveland.
Yeah, Sam, I also got a question for you. We're at this point. I don't know if you noticed, but the first thing that guys say after a loss is like, okay, I'm happy we got a game like tomorrow or in another 2 days so we can, get through this one. And always coaches say, okay, the schedule is, fast and we just got to, forget about this game. And they try to like have a reset button in the minds of players, man. And I was always curious, why are they talking like that? And what's going to be the reverse situation when we got the W? What the players are supposed to think about that W? You know how they go. Yeah, they go and the run. And yesterday it was like a minute in the game when I was watching it today, and I was like, I wonder if Green is gonna say something like that. They've got to build up on this W and go to the next game and stuff like that. After every loss, they say, okay, so it's a hard schedule. They're gonna forget about the game really fast because there's a next game coming up. I'm like, why are they not saying this about the W's, man? They're gonna remember this W and take this at them. But like you said, the 2 W's we had, they were really different games, and like you said, I think they can get something valuable from this game even more than the Chicago one.
Yeah, way more because they controlled the game from the start to the finish. So,
and it's important that, like you said, that they didn't drop down really bad, and that they had that counter punch when they lost the lead. They didn't go like 5 or 7 points down because that would be, when the NBA is a game of runs. But if the opposite team gets a really big run, man, it's depressing for you, and that mood can swing really fast.
Right, and they were able to punch back when Dallas was making a run, which they haven't done against other teams, but they were able to punch back when Dallas was making a run. That made a big difference. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to a win. Hopefully I'm going to be on tomorrow night, but I am traveling, so it's going to depend on what the service and internet is like at that particular hotel. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm going to get off for now. Been on for about 2 hours. I know, I got to go to a pep rally tonight, so I'm going to go get ready to go to the, I coach high school girls, so I'm getting ready to go to the pep rally tonight. All right. I appreciate you guys for being on with me. And I should see you tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I should see you tomorrow night after the Knicks defeats the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think we're going to get the win tomorrow night. Now, I've been wrong in all of my predictions, but I have. I've been wrong in all of my predictions so far. But I think we're going to get the win tomorrow night. I think we got something going coming off of this. And then, we'll see what happens in Chicago. I have to see tomorrow night to figure out about Chicago. I have my reservations about Chicago, because I'll focus on tomorrow night. I think we're going to win tomorrow night. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am out of here. Thank you guys for joining me. Remember, spike that like button. Hit that thumbs up button for me. All right, keep hitting that thumbs up. There's about 200 people in the chat. Let's see if we can get 200 likes. All right, spike that thumbs up button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, or Sportscaster, follow me. And you can also follow me or subscribe to my channel on YouTube. All right, just go to YouTube and type in Nothing But Knicks. I don't have the ability to put it in all of your chats right now, so type in Nothing But Knicks and it'll pop up right away, either way that you spell it. All right, have a great rest of your weekend, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm out of here. Peace.
That's the deal.